I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
So we shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
That we do.
When I finished Witcher 3, I didn't feel accomplished. I felt like I had left something behind. Not because the story was sad, but because the world kept going on and I wasn't part of it anymore. Like a world I belonged to had got up and left without me. How would you explain to someone the experience of playing through Witcher 3? It's almost like watching a long movie, but you determine the path of the main character. Death, hatred, sadness, and love. You walk the path of the main character for hundreds of hours, trying to get the best possible outcome for your character, building connections to people in the world. Then, one day, hundreds of hours later, it's over. How could I possibly just move on from that?
Be dawning soon. Time to go.
Wait.
You wake up from a bad dream. You sit down and talk to Vesemir, and then a couple minutes later, you get ambushed by some disgusting ghouls. After slaying them, you get on horseback with Vesemir and ride into the local town, watching a beautiful sunset. That is my earliest memory from Witcher 3. It becomes very apparent from the start that beauty and cruelty are inseparable in this world. You ride past a village covered in light from a vibrant sunset, only to realize it's smoldering from a recent bandit raid. Natural rivers reflect the sky perfectly, yet the riverbanks are lined with corpses of soldiers that are long forgotten. Even in the local taverns, music plays and you can hear laughter and singing, but you'll also overhear rumors of death, betrayal, or lost loved ones. There is conflict in just about everything in the Witcher 3 world. The villages, towns, shopkeepers, contracts, and Geralt himself. The world is massive, but there is mystery almost around every corner. It never seems all out in the open. The world simultaneously feels lived in and old and busy and growing. Time passes, seasons change, people age, crops grow, and wither away. And the world continues whether you're watching it or not. Even small choices ripple subtly. A saved villager may tell a story later on. A monster left unchecked may change the path of travelers down that same road. Witcher 3 doesn't just create a backdrop for adventure. It builds a living, breathing world. One that exists fully on its own. And it leaves you with the feeling that you've merely just been a visitor in something much larger than yourself. In the story of Witcher 3, Geralt is often put in situations where the path has already been decided. Kingdoms rise and fall without him, not waiting for his interference. He passes by villages that were already attacked, already burned down. He's a skilled, masterful monster hunter, but the people around him are moving forward while his kind is slowly disappearing. You arrive to help wars that are already lost, settle feuds that keep reoccurring, and villages around you keep decaying. Witchers are a dying breed, and you can feel that burden throughout the game. Nothing is more depressing than going back to Kaer Morhen when your journey is finally done. Completely empty. It makes the game and characters feel so temporary. Geralt's journey moves forward, but at a slowed pace. I mean, in Witcher 3, he's supposed to be in his 90s. But friends age, enemies regroup, and generations are born and then die, all while Geralt continues his path. He's respected and admired by many, but he's part of a fading order, and the world is shifting without him. Every quest and contract feels like it has purpose. Some happy endings, some sad, and some just confusing. Geralt tries to make decisions that are best suited for that moment, but these interactions and moments aren't building up to a bigger point in time. They're closing doors, forming the end of an era in a world that will endure long after he's gone. This is maybe best shown in the ending of Blood and Wine. Geralt finishes his contract and his responsibilities in Toussaint and decides that he doesn't want to keep going. There will always be another contract or another monster to slay. The ending isn't tragic or even dramatic, but it's final.
The life he could breathe into a chunk of cold stone. But I look at it now, and it seems just a rock, ideally proportioned, not a flaw on its surface, painfully perfect.
Everywhere Geralt goes, he carries the echoes of lives that aren't his own. Villagers will argue over debts that he'll never pay. Families grieve losses that he can't prevent, and strangers even whisper about events he can only get glimpses of. So often it feels like he is almost a background character in his own story. He takes on contracts, makes choices, but most of the time, the consequences don't belong to him. They belong to others. A slayed monster can save one family, but leave another cursed. You witness these stories. Sometimes they touch Geralt while passing by, but he never lives them. As a player, you experience this with Geralt. So many side quests and interactions would leave me in awe or even disbelief. The grief of a widow in a village nearby, the regrets of a fallen soldier, or even reading the old diaries of bandits about terrorizing villages and committing horrific acts, where there are no happy endings. And you have no choice but to keep moving forward. That weight grows heavier and heavier the longer Geralt keeps going, and inevitably, it takes a toll. Then, there are the characters that truly mean something to Geralt. Ciri, Yennefer, Vesemir, Dandelion, Triss, and more. These characters aren't just allies or quest givers. They feel like real people with different personalities, dreams, regrets, and choices that ripple throughout the world. The conversations, decisions, and farewells carry an emotional consequence. I've never had such a knot in my stomach when playing a video game and wondering what would happen to these characters in the end. Even characters close to Geralt seem to always be branching away from him. Ciri's journey stretches far beyond Geralt's reach, taking her into wars, politics, and other dimensions, and he can only try to anticipate these events and never really prevent them. The game isn't just about surviving or completing tasks. It's about being a part of others' lives, even if only briefly. The characters give the world heart and weight, and it's their stories that make leaving it feel like a loss in the end.
Toussaint, the land of fluff and wine.
Exactly how I remembered it.
The first time you play Witcher 3, everything feels alive and uncertain. Every choice, every path, and every conversation carries weight because you don't know the outcome. Coming back for the second playthrough, is enjoyable and still better than 99% of games, but the magic just isn't the same. You know the endings, quests you love lose their gravity, and the suspense of so much is dulled by foreknowledge. This isn't a knock against Witcher 3's replayability, but nothing can recapture the excitement of the first playthrough. Every new playthrough becomes less about the living story and more about walking through it again. But in the end, you're chasing a moment that has already passed. When the journey of Witcher 3 finally ends, it doesn't give you real closure. It leaves you with memories and emptiness. Villages bustle, forests creak, and the world carries on, alive and beautifully flawed. Geralt's story is complete, yet the echoes of every choice, every struggle, and connection remain lingering with you long after you exit the game. It's a world that you can't truly leave or forget about, but you also can't ever fully restart. But I'm going to try to anyways.